أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيبنا وصفينا أبو القاسم محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم الحمد لأهله والصلاة على أهلها وسلام على من اتبع الهدى. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. One of the many arguments that the philosophers are using to prove the existence of God, the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is what we call wajibul wujud. This is the argumentation that philosophers are using. We can say this is a simplified argumentation or proposition that is brought forward to prove the existence of the Almighty Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. This wajibul wujud in English can easily be translated to be the necessary existence, which means that God or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the essence of necessity in himself, within himself. So this is a simplified or the simple argumentation that the philosophers use to prove the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In simplified form, when we talk about existence, all in all, philosophically, in philosophy, existence has got two concepts that we use intellectually. And these concepts, they are what we call necessary existence and possible existence. This would tell us that necessary existence, this is an existence that does not depend upon any existence or anything to be realized or to come into existence. This is what we call necessary existence. And when we talk about possible existence, this is an existence that depends upon something or that requires something for it to be realized or for it to come into the concept for it to exist. That means that in possible existence, all the existences that lie under the umbrella of possible existence, they depend upon one cause, and that cause is a cause that philosophically we call ilah, which is the beginning of all these possible existences. There is this intellectual perception that other philosophers are using. This perception is called the tasalsul. This is the infinite perception of existence, meaning that the chain of existence. For example, what they say that for something to be into being, it needed something, and that thing, it needed the other thing, and the other thing, it needed the other thing. This is called the tasalsul. This is the infinite series or the chain of existence. But inside this perception of them, they say that all existences, they are possible existences. When they say all existence are possible existences, they are putting even the necessary existence inside the possible existence, which cannot be accepted philosophically and logically. Why? Because possible existences, the syllogisms that are used in it logically, they cannot be accepted. Why? Because when we use this infinite series of existence, backwardly, we are going to find that there is some point where this chain of existence breaks and it stops. Why? Because when it stops at that point, the existence that it's going to find there is a necessary existence, which is the cause of every individuals that are found in this chain of existence or in this infinite series of existence. So, in other ways, we are going to deny this concept. Islamic philosophy denies this concept because they say that this concept is muhal, meaning that it cannot be like that. It does not have to be in such a way. There must be the cause, that cause which is the cause that does not need or does not depend upon something for it to be existed or to exist. And when we take it in that way, we will find that when we allow this chain of existence, this infinite series, when we allow it to bring it into philosophy just like that, then it means that everything that exists, all these possible existences, they will never come to being. They will never come to show up in their existence. Why? Because that chain is an endless chain. When we talk about wujub and imkan, which might be said to be possibility and necessity, all propositions in intellectual philosophical argumentations, they have got two concepts in them. The first is the subject, and the other thing is the predicate of something. Ayatollah Muhammad Taqi Misbah Yazdi gives a very good example or a very good axiom of this definition that we are trying to talk about here. He gives an example of a sun. He says, the sun shines. There is this subject which is the sun, and there is this shining illumination which is the predicate of the sun. In this example, he says that the establishment of a predicate for the subject has no more than 3 states. It is either impossible, such as the number 3 is greater than number 4, or it is necessary, such as the number 2 is half of 4, or it is neither impossible nor necessary. For instance, the sun is above our head. These are logical terminologies, logical axiom. Looking at this proposition of the sun shining, with many other axioms, with many other examples that we can talk about, that we can bring as argumentations of philosophy to prove the existence of God, we are going to find that necessary existence, this is the existence that exists within itself, and it does not depend upon any other existence for it to exist, meaning that this is an existence which does not have time, which means there is no beginning, there is no ending. Hence, this is the existence which is necessary. And on the other side, we will say that possible existence, which is called mumkin al-wujud, this is the existence that does not exist within itself, and therefore it requires or depends upon another existence for it to exist or for it to be realized, as mentioned earlier. These two words that we use in our everyday lives, which is cause and effect. we know what cause means. Cause, this is something that causes something to happen. And effect, this is the result of what has been caused. This is simplifying way on how we can say it in a layman's language or in our everyday lives. But these two words can be used deeply in philosophical terminology to prove the existence which is necessary existence. For example, when we say if an existent requires another existent for it to be existing, then this existence which is caused is called an effect, and the other is called the cause. So we have an idea of these two terms also to be used in philosophy in such a way. But when we take it lightly in this way, we are going to find that it's also possible for the cause to be an effect at some time. But in this way now, philosophy says that if the cause depends on something, then it means it is not an absolute cause. But if there is a cause which does not depend onto something for it to be there, then it is called an absolute cause. So there are two things here: absolute cause and a non-absolute cause. An absolute cause, this is a cause that does not depend on something for it to be caused or for it to be there. But a free from being absolute cause, this is the cause that is in need of something. Then it means for it to be the cause, or for it to be or to take part, for it to be called an effect. With this perception to be put in mind, firstly, we talked about possibility and necessity of existence. And we also came to talk about cause and effect of something. With these simple terminologies that philosophy uses as the simplest base argumentations to prove the existence of God and to prove that God is wajibul wujud, it means that we realize and we come to understand that there are two things that are surrounding us in life. It is either something is a possible existence caused by something, caused by the other existence, and also it is a necessary existence, meaning that this is an existence that exists within itself and does not need any other existence for it to exist. With cause and effect, many people, they will misunderstand this. They will give an attribute to God that God also, if He is the cause of us as being effects, then He is also in need of something. No, that is not supposed to be like that. God is going to be an absolute cause, which is the necessary existence that does not need any possible existence or any impossibility for Him to be realized. So, by the principle of causation and also the principle of necessity and possibility and also sometimes impossibility, we come to realize that Allah is a necessary existence that does not depend upon you, depend upon me, depend upon anything else, nor depend upon anyone else for Him to be realized and for Him to be in existence. Allah is Allah. And this makes us to realize the unity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which can be discussed in some other lessons and some other sessions. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
إن الله وملائكته وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.